TK on the line right now. TK, welcome to WPFW.
Hey, Rusty, man, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Still on the planet, still doing this like I've been doing it for almost 60 years. So got to be doing
Wow, that's
something right.
incredible, man.
Yeah,
So
what?
great to hear your voice, and thank you so much for playing some music from my latest recording, Planet Blue.
So tell us. Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you get into music, and we'll talk about your prominent associations along the way. But where'd you get started?
Well, my parents from the Caribbean. I was
Sure.
born and raised in New York, so my mom is from Trinidad, and my father's from Jamaica. So they always had a lot of various types of music, especially music from the islands, calypso, things like that. And mom was also very fond of Louis Armstrong and Horace Silver, and she had a lot of those records. So I kind of gravitated towards music quite early. In fact, in elementary school, I started playing trumpet, and then I switched to drums, and then, through adolescence and junior high, middle school, playing sports in high school. But in my last year of high school, I got back into music, but this time via the flute. I heard some groups, Hubert Laws, of course, but I heard a group called Mandrill, and they had a great flute player on there. And, of course, Herbie Mann had a Coming Home Baby. He had a big hit that I got turned on to. So the flute really started to excite me quite a bit. And my mom was so helpful in supporting my endeavors, and she bought my first flute. And then in college, I went to NYU, and my dorm neighbor right next door, he happened to be a John Coltrane fanatic, man. He had every record at that time that had been put out by John Coltrane and Eric Dolphy. And he also played tenor and alto saxophone. So I, started playing on these instruments because the fingering is quite similar. And then from there, going to various things in New York, it was very helpful for me was Jazzmobile, Jazz Interaction,
Sure.
Henry Street Settlement, and the Muse. And all of these places, you had all of the top players from Jimmy Heath, Ernie Wilkins, Frank Foster, Ernie Woods. The list is endless. Benny Powell, Jimmy Owens, all of these cats, Reggie Workman, Billy Mitchell, Paul West. They're all taught here at these various institutions where you can learn for free how to play and also get experience playing in big band setting. So things just kind of spiraled from there. And after graduating, I went to graduate school, got my master's. And all around that time period is when I was introduced to Abdullah Ibrahim.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, and that was the rest is history. Through him, I started traveling around the world and recording and meeting a lot of great musicians. And I'm so happy they're going to honor him in October. I think he'll be 91. He's going to perform in New York
still
at
performing.
The Rose Hall.
Yeah, I've seen him perform a number of times over the years, and it's just...
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Through him,
absolutely.
I met Randy Weston, and that became my lifelong association.
So a South African pianist introduced you to a pianist from Brooklyn, huh?
Check that out. Yeah, it's interesting because when I first heard Randy at the East in Brooklyn, I didn't know who he was. In fact, I went to the East because I was told that Ramsey Lewis was performing, and he had a big hit called "The In Crowd." And I was really attracted to that music, but it would turn out it was Randy Weston.
Oh wow!
He had his son with him on congas as a dean.
As a dean, yeah, sure.
Phenomenal percussionist.
Wow.
And it's serendipity because just 2 days ago or a day ago, I called. I had a long conversation with James Spalding. And it was his birthday. He just turned 88.
I know. I have I've heard some music of his that I'm going to play tonight to celebrate his birthday.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He was at the East that night, and I was there. And I didn't know who he was either. And Randy got on the microphone and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest who's going to come up and play some flute." And it was James Spalding.
Actually. just as an aside, I'm on that record that drew you to Ramsey Lewis. I was in the Bohemian Caverns when he recorded the In Crowd.
Wow,
You
you
know,
were
but
there?
absolutely.
Wow,
1965, I was sophomore at
look at
Georgetown,
that.
and
Look
I'm
at
there
that.
clapping in the audience. And I
Right.
did get to interview him, but just meeting and talking with and interviewing Randy Weston, man, that connection,
Yeah.
you
Oh, that's
know.
beautiful. That's
But I'm also
beautiful.
old
So,
enough to have seen John Coltrane twice, so that got
wow.
to it early on. So, in terms of your work with Abdullah Ibrahim, where was most of your performances? Was it in Europe or here in
Well,
the States? Or
we all over. It was in
okay,
Europe. Europe, of course, he was very popular in Europe, especially in Scandinavia. We were touring like probably 5 to 6 tours, with each were close to a month, a year. I was with him for three-year period from '77 to 1980,
okay,
and also in the States. In fact, I'm playing this weekend, but I remember playing at the Keystone Corner in San Francisco
wow,
with Abdullah. And then also I went to Africa for the first time with him. I went to Senegal, and that was a very incredible experience. So, and then the first time with him that I had a chance to record. And then through him, I met Randy. We did a performance in New York, in Brooklyn, but later I actually moved to Paris. And again, serendipity plays a part because Randy at that time was living in Annecy, which is in southeastern part of France, near the mountain, near Mont
sure.
Blanc,
Oh wow,
near the
okay.
mountain. So
Hmm.
so when he found out I was in Paris, we kind of connected, and he sent me an invitation. He said, "Listen, man, come on and play a festival with me in San Sebastian, Spain." And it turned out that we played a trio with myself on reeds, Randy, and a guy from Morocco, a Ghanaian named Mohammed Ben Fattah. He played the conga, bongo, and the kakabar. And we opened, believe it or not, for Wynton Marsalis's band. I believe that may have been Wynton's first tour, because I had just saw Wynton in Paris with Art Blakey, and
Mm-hmm.
he was his musical director. And then now he's performing with his band. And the first time I heard Braffin on tenor, I had Braffin as playing an alto, and I think he also played Barry with Art Blakey. So it was really a great historical time period for me to be around all these masters, young and old, who were really making a name for themselves.
You did some work with the vocalist Jimmy Scott also.
Oh, Jimmy Scott,
Yeah,
yeah. We just celebrated his 100th centennial a
right,
couple of weeks ago in
right.
Brooklyn. Yeah, at Sister's Place. Yeah, he would have been 100 on July 17th, and another really iconic figure. And then also I got a chance to connect when I lived in Paris with Sam Rivers, and
Wow,
I
okay.
was part of his Winds of Manhattan project, which was 11 saxophones, no rhythm section, and we actually toured Europe with that configuration, and also recorded in Italy. And a lot of people don't realize that Sam Rivers was a incredible classical pianist, and initially that's what he wanted to do, but it wasn't the time period at that time for African Americans to excel in that area, of classical music. So he branched out into the jazz idiom. But it was a
Fascinating.
very,
No.
very,
Mm-hmm.
very rich
Mm-hmm.
time period, and all of this, I think, I bring together with all of the music that I'm trying to do today. Like Planet Blue. I'm so happy you played that title track. That's from a dream I had. We have so much negativity that's permeating our planet, especially with climate change, pollution, things like that, and also with disagreement and wars and disunity and polarization. And I think music is one of the things that can really heal our planet and can help bring people together in harmony. People of all nationalities, people of all faiths, and all beliefs. We can all come together as one humanity. And that was a dream, and it was a planet that I visited in this dream where we didn't have disunity. We didn't have pollution. We didn't have wars. We had no weapons. Planet Blue, there's no weapons. There's no armies. There's no prisons. Everybody lives in harmony. There's no privilege for one group. Everybody has the same privilege. And coincidentally, on Planet Blue, you share, you barter. So there's no money. So you share services. You may teach somebody's children how to read and write. In turn, they may help you build your house. You do things like that. But more importantly, on Planet Blue, if you have illness, you don't take chemical medicine. You actually call a musician, because musicians are held in high regard and high esteem. In French, we call them the guérisseurs, the healers. And that's a term that Dr. Weston used all the time. In fact, one of his songs is called The Healers. And that was influenced by Aye Kweyama, who wrote a book, Ghanaian author, great Ghanaian author, who has a book called The Healers. And musicians are healers because when we play, we align the spirit back in tune with Mother Nature. We align the spirit back in tune with the Creator, and you become better. So when you're ill, you call a musician, not a doctor. And they come to your house and they play.
Speaking of musicians, on Planet Blue, you seem to have a younger generation of musicians. Tell us about who's performing with you on the recording.
Yeah, it was a beautiful conception because I did a couple of gigs. I play quite often at Dr. Weston's grandsons. They have a restaurant called Brother Smokehouse in Ramsey, New Jersey, and I played there quite often, once a month. And one of the gigs, I decided to use some young musicians. I had Orion Touré, the son of Steve Touré, on drums. I had Deshaun Harper, who he's the son of Danny Harper, the great musical family, the Harper brothers, Danny and Philip and Winard, and all of them playing. Deshaun was on bass. And then we had Davis Whitfield, who's the son of Mark Whitfield, and he plays incredible piano. So I had an idea. I said, man, let me do a project with these guys, because it felt so good playing on stage. And then I added to the mix, Wallace Roney Jr. Now, his father I knew very well, because he first came to New York, and he sat in with me on a gig in Brooklyn, and then I introduced him the next day to Abdullah Ibrahim, because we were getting ready to go to Europe.
Sure, okay,
and he sat in with us at the Public Theater, and before I knew it, when we were leaving for Europe, Wallace was in the band. That was his first tour.
Wow, Wallace
to Europe.
Wallace was still in high school when I emceed a concert that he gave, a tribute to Lee Morgan. He was at Ellington High School, 16 years old, so I've known Wallace, Boy, I sure miss him, and we'll hear him a little bit later after we hear your tribute to Randy Weston with Randy, because he's a guest artist with your ensemble. So
in fact, he's on Volcano Blues. So I recommended him to Randy, and he's the trumpeter, because on Volcano Blues, that recording we did, it was 5 horns. And it was myself, Wallace Roney, Hamlet Blewett, Teddy Edwards,
and
Eddie Powell. So that was just an incredible period. But those are the folks on the recording, and then we incorporated some veterans. Steve Touré on some tracks, and the great pianist Dave Kukowski.
Sure.
He does a duo with me of a Hale Smith composition, When It's Time to Say Goodbye. Sadly, I should mention that we just had a big tribute to Deshaun Harper, who unfortunately left us. He became an ancestor at the young age of 31.
Wow!
And,
my!
It was very tragic. So his family came up, and it was at Dizzy's actually just a week ago, at Dizzy's Coca-Cola Club at Jazz and Lincoln Center. So his father was there. His father, Danny, and his mom, Terry. They are phenomenal musicians. Terry plays piano and sings, and Daddy plays trumpet. And Terrence, his brother, was the MC for the evening, and a whole ton of musicians were there to honor Deshaun. So it's a huge loss to the jazz community.
Absolutely.
In fact, Deshaun was scheduled to play with me the day after his transition, and I just played without bass to honor him, So, but that's the concept of Planet Blue. and I'm really excited that we're going to be performing in D.C. I haven't performed in D.C. with my band in quite some time. The last time I was there, you were there, I believe, Rusty, where we did the 88 Jazz Master ceremony in 2024 honoring Dr. Willard Jenkins. And,
yes.
So this would be really a great opportunity for me to connect with a lot of my D.C. friends and family. And
so tell us where it's going to be and how.
At Tacoma Station.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Right.
I'm sorry. I said tomorrow, but I meant Saturday.
Sure.
August 2nd. And at 7 p.m. we'll be at Tacoma Station on 4th Street there, Northwest Washington, D.C. And I'll have a great band of folks that I've been playing with quite a bit in this area. Janelle Gill, who I love so much on piano, phenomenal pianist. Obasio Koto on bass, and Lenny Robinson on drums. And all of us have a deep camaraderie and history. Lenny's actually on some of my early recordings. And I just met Brother Basie maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he's living in Baltimore now, so it's just a beautiful connection. And I can't remember how I met Janelle or who recommended her, but it was just the first meeting was absolutely incredible. And I'm so thrilled to be playing with them.
Sure, absolutely.
We're playing a lot of music from Planet Blue. So folks got to come out and get some healing sounds.
And you got something coming up on Sunday also, so tell us about that.
Sunday we'll be at the Keystone in Baltimore. It's those folks who can't make it to D.C. and vice versa, so you'll have two opportunities to hear the same band. And at the Keystone, we're only going to be doing one long show starting at 5. At the Tacoma Station on Saturday, we'll do a set at 7. And then another one around 8:45. We'll do another set. So we'll be playing a lot of this music, and I'll have some CD recordings available, and also some vinyl that just came out. I've got a couple of vinyl, different ones. A tribute to Duke Ellington with the Arcadia Jazz All Stars, and another one is one of my recordings on Arcadia called The Tide of Love, which incidentally features the drummer that's playing with me this weekend, Lenny Robinson.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, we have a long history.
Absolutely. Lenny I go way back too also. So I got, I have a picture of my granddaughter with Randy Weston from the performance he gave at the Kennedy Center, the tribute to James Reese Europe.
Right.
Right. I have a picture of you and Auckland Lynch from your tribute to Randy Weston.
I saw that picture. I have that on my phone somewhere.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Long ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
great.
Just had a birthday. In fact,
wow.
I happened to call him. I was thinking about him. I know he's been having some health challenges. I pray for him all the time, and I called him, and his lady said, "You won't believe it, but today is his birthday." I said, "What?" So
oh my gosh, fantastic!
And I played a happy birthday for him over the phone.
So from Auckland Lynch, beautiful scholar, man. I've known him for, 45, 50 years, I guess.
And he's Trinidadian.
Yes, okay, absolutely, really.
Yeah.
So I have from your The Rhythms Continue queued up. I have High Fly queued up, so we'll hear some Billy Harper on this, I guess, also.
Billy Harper, and also on that recording, it's very interesting because you're going to hear two great young pianists. Mike King, who's working with Ursa Major with Christian McBride's band, and you're going to hear Keith Brown. Keith is working with everybody. I think he was with Kenny Garrett for quite some time, and I'm not sure. He's probably playing with somebody incredible now, I'm sure. Right. They're both phenomenal. But when you hear the recording, it'll be very interesting for anybody to who can detect when one finishes and the other one begins, because they both segue from each other
awesome.
Solo.
Fantastic.
I can't even tell.
Absolutely.
You have to listen a little bit, but they're just phenomenal. And on that recording, I want to mention that I had 4 piano players on the record. On High Fly, it's just Keith and Mike King, but on the record, I also had a young lady named Kelly Green, because we did 2 selections by Melba Liston. So I wanted to have the female energy represented. So Kelly plays a duo with me on 2 of Melba Liston songs. And also we had Sharp Radway, who, in my estimation, is one of the greatest interpreters of Randy Weston's music. He really studied Randy and really listens to him and knows intuitively the way he voiced chords and things like that. So I really...
you have a couple of Westonian associates with you on this also.
Yeah.
Alex Blake and Baba...
Chief
Neil Clark, so yes.
Yeah. And Vince Ector on drums. Vince is he's on the project we did at the tribute to James Reese Europe.
Okay. Yeah. TK Blue, thanks for calling in tonight. And again, it's been a wonderful conversation. And
my pleasure, Rusty. And I hope folks can come out to the Comba Station Saturday, 7 p.m. If you're in the D.C. area, it's a hop, skip, and jump. If you can't make it, or if you're in the Baltimore area or further places north, on Sunday, please come on out to the great club run by Todd Barkin, the Keystone Corner. That club has a lot of history. As I mentioned, I was very fortunate to play as a very young man at his San Francisco, the original club, which, that has so much history. When you think about all the people that have played at the Keystone Corner, it's a who's who in jazz. So we're just very happy and excited to be in this area between Baltimore and D.C. To play for the folks. It's just always a pleasure. And thank you, Rusty, for taking
you're
time
so welcome. It's been a wonderful conversation. TK Blue.